All right, this is the Royal Sports Fan Podcast back for another episode. Been a while since I dropped something, so been waiting for this one. Got one of my best friends coming through.
What's going on?
The,
Glad to
the
be
talk,
here.
yeah, man. We're gonna talk about some sports, talk about life, talk about our friendship, and man, it's gonna be great, man. We didn't sat down and broke bread today, and now we sitting down for the podcast at the Wilson residence. So
Love it. It's a
we
beautiful day today.
beautiful out, beautiful
Beautiful.
out. So appreciate everybody for listening in advance. Go ahead and share it. Go ahead and make sure you tell people about the podcast. Another great episode going to drop. Get to hear my boy's story. Get to hear a lot about the Horwood, where we made our names at, and most importantly, our brotherhood. That's really what it is. Not even a friendship, it's a brotherhood.
For sure.
25, 26 years, something like
Yeah.
that.
It's been a long
It's been a
time.
long time, man. It's been a long time. So appreciate everybody. So man, we're gonna get right into it. And just first and foremost, man, for a lot of people, might think you were born in Maryland or might not know, how it was coming up, man. Talk a little bit about, where you were born and just the journey, to Maryland.
Okay. So I was actually born in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. I don't remember being there. I was
Mhm.
just born there. So, and after Fort Campbell, I actually remember living in Germany from birth to
That's
five.
right. You did say that. Yeah,
Yeah. So I lived
yeah.
in
Darn, that's
Germany.
right.
Yeah. So that was a different experience. And it's crazy
Mhm.
because growing up in a foreign country for your first 5 years, you don't get Americanized until you come
Mhm.
back here. So then you learn a different way. Like the culture is completely different.
Mhm.
The way you treat people is completely
Exactly.
different. Just your outlook on life is completely different
That's true.
because, like I said, you haven't been
Yeah, but
Americanized. And then when I
Americanized.
came back, once I moved to America, I actually moved to Oklahoma. So I lived
That's
in
right.
Fort Sill, Oklahoma, from probably five to probably until I moved here, and I was in what, fourth grade.
So, because I remember, it's funny because when we met, I remember you talk about Germany because I remember being so cool. Like, oh man, we know somebody that grew up in Germany, and
Hmm.
whatnot. So I know that was always cool. Now when you moved here, you said fourth grade. Now was that though going to St. Michael's at that time? Were you going to
Yeah,
Easton at
yep.
first?
I was going to St. Michael's. I was living in Royal Oak in my grandmother's house, going to St. Michael's.
So that had to be an adjustment. I mean, I know you was in Oklahoma. Was that more city,
Oh,
suburbs,
definitely
hood?
more city.
More city. Okay,
Definitely,
okay.
because
So
where I
growing
lived in Oklahoma, we had five A high schools in one town.
see,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah,
Five A. Five
five
A.
A
Yeah, that's a
in
lot.
one town.
Yeah, that's a
So
lot.
coming here is like,
Yeah, it's like yeah.
where you
Yeah,
taking
well,
me at?
exactly.
Like,
Especially Roy. That's why I said, especially like rural Oak, and you going to
man,
St. Michael School, so you probably like, man, like what's going on? Like where I'm at, like
yep,
because coming from Oklahoma. Because
yeah,
sometimes people hear Oklahoma, you think, what I mean, you don't know what to expect as far as the way the way of living and things like that. But five A schools, we 2A for anybody that don't know, here in Easton. So that
actually, I
tell you
think it's
about the
3A now.
difference.
They actually went
They
up.
did went
Yeah,
them I think them Decatur, maybe Queen Anne's, maybe something
yeah,
like that, 3A,
yeah.
but that's the most. You're gonna get a lot of 1A schools.
Oh yeah,
Obviously,
tons
there's
of
a ton,
1A
ton of
schools
them,
around here,
but
but
5A, that say a lot right there.
yeah.
So talk a little bit about just growing up, and then where did the love of basketball come in at? Was it another sport besides that as well, or talk a little bit about that?
Nah, basketball has always been my love. It's just something that I've always grown up playing. It was the first sport I've ever actually started playing. I think
Mm-hmm.
in Oklahoma I did track and I did basketball. My
Mm.
mom would never let me play football, so that was never an
Yeah,
option. So
same.
basketball was just
Yeah,
always it. And then, just watching basketball when you're a kid,
yeah, yeah.
just fell in love with it. And
Big
then,
big KG fan.
oh yeah, big
Yeah, you
KG
big
fan.
KG
KG was
fan.
my guy
You was a big
first.
KG fan.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Oh
sir.
yeah.
I can
That's where I
remember
got
that.
that's where I got my heart from.
Yeah, I the heart. I remember the when he had the shoes, the blue joints, the
Yeah.
KG shoes, posters on the wall.
All of that.
Like you said, that hunger to block shots and the
Oh yeah,
yelling,
the
the
physicality of the game,
physicality.
the
Yeah,
mental part too, just to
yeah,
talk shit.
yeah. And,
Like
and
I
then
love that.
and then if you think about what KG was doing back then, we talking mid 90s when he come in the league, the late 90s, and compared to like how the league is now, man, he would tear this league up. And
Oh yeah, the
I know
league
that's a
was
whole
meant
nother
for him
story.
now back then.
Man, he was doing stuff like that he shouldn't even been doing at that time anyway. So I'm gonna segue, uh, talk about moms, man. Talk about Bev, man. Like you said, raise you, single parent household. Talk a little bit about Bev and just what she means to you as your mom. And then, I love Bev, man. So, when we connected, she would let you stay, or I would come over to the crib, and our moms connected, you know what I mean? So talk a little bit
Hmm.
about that.
Yeah, Bev is, she was my rock there.
Mhm.
And for the longest time it was just me and her, and then we just had to go through the drama that we had to get through just to be here in that space. So after that, it was just
moving forward, pushing
yeah,
forward.
just learning. For me, it was learning
Yeah.
because she's from here. So for me, it was whole learning a whole new experience of everything. So she's coming back home. So for me, it was just brand new experience. And the crazy thing about it is I've always come to Maryland like every summer, even when I lived in
Oh, is that
Oklahoma.
right? Oh,
But
okay.
I was only around my family at that point in time.
Oh,
I
okay.
wasn't around anybody else outside of that. So
Okay.
actually moving here and living here was completely different. So I think I probably had the biggest transition from that.
So, and that's a good point because I would probably say her allowing you to play YMCA ball was at 6th grade. I'm sure that was probably one of those things that helped you get comfortable, you know, being around other peers, you know, meeting people and stuff like that. Talk a little bit about, you know, what you remember from that first year of YMCA ball, the red team,
The
green
red
team.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? You, Todd, Ferry, Jawan. Was JR y'all coach?
Well, JR was not actually our coach. Finney was actually our coach, but JR took over because
Finney was
Finney
the
just had us
coach.
doing layup drills all practice. JR was like, nah, we need to get a little bit more
Yo,
game going on in here.
was
So
funny,
these
man.
gentlemen can learn.
Shout out Finney. Finney was my coach 8th grade, so I know what you mean.
Shout out to JR because he took us over and held us
JR,
down that
set
year.
your feet, baby.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that. Just that first year, what you remember, just as far as y'all team, and then just meeting, you know, me and Mike and everybody from there.
Well, see, for me, because I was a military kid, so you moved around a lot. So meeting new people was just a part of what happened. So every 4 or 5 years, your parents get redeployed somewhere else. You got to meet new people. So that for me, that was always the easy part. It was an easy transition. Like, okay, I'm here now. So you know what? I got to be friends with these people.
Right.
What are they into? What do they like doing? So I got to, you know what I mean, kind of immerse myself into what y'all had going on because I was a new kid on the block. And just the common thing we had was basketball.
Right.
So that was a blessing in disguise. We just all met out there and we just instantly became friends. I don't even know how it happened.
Yeah, I know. That's great. We was on different teams, same team. So yeah, I try to think back. I don't really know either, like where the connection stuff started.
I think it was like assessments because they had everybody like try out and
something like that.
Just clicked. I don't exactly remember what it was either.
So talk about because there was one point in time. I don't think I knew this at first until maybe you said something, but you were supposed to go back to St. Michael's and somehow, you know, we convinced Bev to let you go to Easton.
Yeah, no, actually I was supposed to go to St. Peter and Paul.
Oh man!
Instead of going to Easton school because she did not want me to go. Yeah, she did not want me to go to St. Peter and Paul. Yeah,
that's been different.
She was like, "Oh, you're going to private school." I'm like, "For what? Like, what's the point in that? There's no purpose in that, huh?"
That would have been different.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so glad I didn't though.
Yeah,
that would have been tragic.
Because I remember a little bit about that.
Yeah, thanks for y'all because we held the roundtable meeting. I think it was me, you, Ty.
Please let me
I think Turtle was there. It was a lot of us. We advocated for that.
Yeah. So allow you to go to Easton, and then it worked out because when you was allowed to go to Easton, that's how me and Ty was in the same class, and we had the same class all through the middle school.
Yeah,
pretty sure every year. Middle school. Miss Amanda set of rules and all that.
Yeah, oh my gosh, set of rules. I mean, you said me the other day, I was tripping off of that.
Miss Amanda set of rules and all that. So us three, we instantly built that bond. And especially man, back then with wrestling, we go around, NWO, Four Horsemen, all that stuff. Yeah, man. So we built that, continue to start to build that bond and friendship then that as now, 26, 27 years later, as a brotherhood and has always been. So it was just dope, meeting you at the Y and getting to connect from there. And then, like you said, we was talking off camera. I kind of forgot that you're right. 7th grade, you did not play. And then, like you said, in 8th grade, I don't know what happened either. So I don't
know what happened. I think you started playing AAU.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm just gonna play. Yeah, you just gonna play AAU. And AAU, we talked a little bit about that. We thank God for our AAU coaches and all that. Everything was new to everybody. Going to different terms and stuff like that. What's something that stand out to you about AAU? Whether it was an experience, whether it was a certain game, whether it was just something we did to have fun, a place we went. Is there anything that sticks out? Eastern Shore Athletic Organization, shout out.
Oh yeah, for me it was just a new experience because, like you said, we were playing rec ball at the YMCA, so it was just a next level, and you had to actually make the team. So not everybody made the team, so just making the team was a accomplishment within itself because you had the best on the shore. It wasn't just Easton. At first it was, but then we had people come from Cambridge, you know what I mean, everywhere. So just making that team was like, okay, I can actually play with these guys. You know what I mean? Like I fit in here. So it's like after that, it was just it was fun.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you would go over there, we would get smacked by 30, but it was still an experience. You got to learn something.
Come back,
You come back with something better to
Mm-hmm.
go to the gym. All right, you know what? I couldn't do this in the game, so I'm gonna work on this week.
Yeah, most definitely, man. We definitely, knew what to work on and iron sharpen iron and definitely push each other. And that kind of remind me of our battles, man, at the Y, man, from 4-on-4 series.
Yeah.
We used to run to 5-on-5 at the school. Like after school, we was going to the Y.
That's it.
Bro, we was going to the Y, no fans and bucks.
Every day.
And we battle. Now I'm on record of saying, because I said it before, I'm gonna say it while my man here. Now we had a lot of battles against each other. I'm sure we were on the same team a lot of times too, but a lot of times I would have either Mike or Turtle and whatever other three, man. We was running though. We was running things. Me, Mike, Turtle, and then y'all it could be Ute, Beater, Ty was there.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was so many cats that would come play, but those after school games,
it was everything
competitive. And then one thing you like doing, man, which I always respected, is blocking shots. You was always real good shot blocker. Where did that come from? That come from a certain player you like? That come just from playing? Like where did the block shots?
To be honest, I gotta credit that to all of my team defenders out there because they really I wasn't never a good on the ball shot blocker. So once they got say your man beat you to the basket, I could meet him at the rim.
Yeah.
Only had one job, just meet him at the rim.
Yeah.
So once you funnel him that direction, it was just easy for me to see the play coming and anticipate and just beat it.
Yeah. I mean, because you just ain't had no regular blocks. You was throwing stuff you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You might yell and everything and make sure you
know. That was
yeah.
And a lot of times you got to realize when I didn't realize this then, but I realize it now. When you can't be the scorer on the team because everybody wants to cheer for the scorer, but you got to do other things to make yourself relevant to stay on the court.
Yeah.
It's not just about showing up in the stat sheet. It's how can I show my stamp on the game?
That's a great point.
It might not be always a score, an assist, or you know what I mean. Sometimes, like you said, shot blocking. That was my thing. 11th grade year, I couldn't score every game, but I got to block.
Every game. Yeah, and that's why I talked about earlier. And we're gonna go into high school. And I was talking earlier about, I was thinking, I had 3 coaches in 3 years, went through a lot of different roles, on the court. I was also thinking earlier, I was like, man, Twan had a lot of roles too, from JV, the two different variations of JV that we're gonna get into in a second, varsity, as well. And y'all listen just to the way he adapted and adjusted, no matter what the role was, whether it was a shot blocker, a scorer, a facilitator. He always been a great teammate, but just listen to the different steps, that went on. So you start your freshman year, Butler was our coach. Shout out Coach Mike Butler.
We was deep that year.
We was deep, man. I mean, I started as a freshman with Dixon. They had Matt Goodrich, Chris Barnett. We had Hari starting off. And then Tay ended up coming down around the halfway point. And then we still had with our class, 03 class, me, you, Donnie, Cavi, Turtle didn't play the year, but still had Turtle.
Yeah. So we had Ty.
And we had Ty. Thank you. And we had Ty. Yeah. So what what was your take on just the first year? We went 14-2, had a good year. It was kind of easy, to be honest with you. Because I think we played together, the most of us, and you see what the talent was. So I think the only team we lost to was Cambridge and Pocomoke. Pocomoke was an overtime, which I was a game. Honestly, we should have won. I remember messing up that game.
We definitely should have won that.
Yeah, but talk a little bit just about your freshman experience on JV.
Again, I was happy to make the team. You know what I mean? Because I was clearly wasn't a starter, but just being on that team and like you said, you gotta carve out minutes for yourself. So whatever you see our team, we got scoring. All right, we don't need that. So what can I do? I can rebound. I can set a good pick. I can make myself available.
That's real. Yeah. You definitely did good with that, which I always respect. You know what I'm saying? No matter what coach asked you to do, you know what I'm saying, you would do it, and you wouldn't be like, well, what about my time? What about this? And that's why I was so happy for you. 10th grade, man. I was happy for you, but at the same time, I wanted to be on that team because, man, JV. So you ended up getting the offensive player of the year that year. Turtle ended up getting the MVP, and that combination of y'all two, and then you putting in at that time. Then you got Ty still, you got Mike as a freshman, you got D. Ricketts as a freshman.
D. Ricketts was my man that year.
And I never got to play Winnie in high school. You had Winnie as a freshman. The list goes on. But man, that was a special team. Like I was
they made my job so easy,
bro.
man. I don't know how I got all the stats, but they made my job so easy because you can figure you had Mike and Winnie up top. They was trapping everything.
Trapping.
And then once we put the diamond press in there, it was a wrap. I just had to hit open threes and like get layups. You know what I mean?
And Richard was y'all coach that year, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So again, being familiar with the coach, that helps, being familiar with your team. And I just remember watching y'all play because we had an up and down year in varsity. It was like, man, like at one point I was gonna go down, but I was like, nah, because I like to see, I like how you were shining because I feel like that was even building your confidence more. And the fact that that's how you know that JV was doing good. I'm looking at a couple of things that that was even in the paper for JV.
Yeah.
You had 25 against Colonel, JV. Ty had 15, several assists that game. And then there was another game I had found as well where they had put JV in there that doesn't normally happen. So, like I said, that year, man, y'all played that diamond press. Like it was like y'all made a little fun out there. Like I was like, yo,
it made my job real easy.
Like y'all
I just played the back on the diamond press. Mike when he was up front. I want to say who's in the middle.
Because who started that year? Was it was you, Turtle, Mike, D start?
Yep.
And me, I'm trying to think too.
Did Connor start that year?
I gotta say it might have been Connor.
It might have been
Connor.
Yeah. It might have been.
Y'all was deep, man.
Yeah, that was.
That was deep.
Like I said, my job was real easy that year.
Yeah, that was deep. And you played so well that you and Turtle actually got moved up for the playoffs.
Yep. Yeah, because we went down Decatur that year.
Went down Decatur, and you both played actually real well. I don't know if you remember, but y'all played real well because I actually forgot that we were actually up in the first quarter against Decatur, 17-11, and we had like 2 or 3 straight turnovers, and they ended up being up like 2 at the end of the first. But you ended up, and again, this is your first varsity experience. You had 13 and 6 and limited minutes off the bench in the playoffs. Like, you know what I'm saying? I had a terrible game. I don't even know what I had, but it was double figures probably. And then Turtle, he was filling the stat sheet up. I had seen like 8 points, rebounds, assists. I mean, he was doing it. So what do you remember about that first experience with varsity, coming off JV, coming off being the man, on JV, and now you coming kind of like you said, your freshman year being one of the guys, but contributing right away. That's not easy. So, talk to me a little bit about that.
For me, like I said, all those experiences when you come off the bench, you're not used to getting in the game right immediately when the game starts. To me, it was always a benefit because I got to see the flow of the game, who was doing what, who wasn't doing what.
Yeah.
So if I know if my man wasn't boxing out, guess what? I could easily get a tip and rebound. I know he's not looking for the box out.
That's true.
So you just pay attention to the little things and you just find your groove, find your lane, and then just.
That's a good point, man. And even kids listening, man, like when you on the bench watching what's going on, it's so key because you can I do a little bit of coaching now, and sometimes you'll tell a kid, all right, go in and do this, and I ask you what I'm supposed to do. Like, you got to watch. You're not watching the game. Like you supposed to watch.
If you know who's going in for. Richard used to always set us up for excellence with this because it's like whoever you're going in the game for, watch what they're doing. Watch the person they're guarding, so you're gonna know when you get in the game exactly what to do.
Exactly what to do. Exactly what to do. So going into that year, get your experience with that, and then obviously we play, AAU in the summer and all that good stuff. 11th grade comes. And I remember 11th grade, man, being real confident. I remember us riding my aunt Sebring. I remember she said,
that's when we was
back in this day right there. All that. So, man, she gonna be with the Lord now. But man, I remember she used to let me get that whip, man, and we would ride and have a good time. But going to your junior year, again, if you look at the depth of that team, I always tell people, and some people we like nah, but depth wise, we was the deepest.
Oh,
like 12th grade, I know we were better as a team, but I always say depth wise, like we could have figured out.
Our second five could have went to any other school on the shore and started.
Yeah, like that's why I think people don't understand because we ended up we started 3-0, was 5-2 at one point, and then we had a bad stretch where we had lost like 4 or 5, and then we had won like 4 or 5. You know what I mean? And then we had lost a couple at the end of the season, so we really would have been like a 13, 14 win season, and instead we was just basically a 500 club. Even though we were tied with Cambridge for first place at one point. So, just talk about, because I've been talking about roles. Like, what was your mindset kind of going in that year with it being so deep? With I kind of said before, but now some of the same guys we had before, where we got me, you, Turtle, but now you're adding Casey, Cabby, Dixon, Barnett, Blue. Colin Krause. Gurich actually went to Saints.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Because of that reason, though.
Yeah,
because it was so deep. Lance Hood, he was on there for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it was a deep Donnie. So it was a deep team. So talk a little bit about your mindset. Going into your junior year.
Again, it was just how can I carve out minutes? What can I do? And see that time I was more athletic than most people, so I could do different things that got me time on the court. You know what I mean? Like rebounding, shot blocking, and just I knew because there was no way I was gonna score the ball with you, Casey, and Cabby out there. So okay, coach, what else can I do to help us get a W? You know what I mean? So scoring was never my thing, but I could always hit an open jump shot, so you could leave me out there for that reason as well.
Right. And that's a good point because you did just that as far as finding your niche, because when we had lost 4 or 5, Butler came because the starting lineup first was Turtle was at the point, was Cabby, it was Casey, it was me, and it was Dixon. And Butler, to his credit, I do give him credit, is he shook things up after we went on that lost 4 or 5, put you in the starting lineup. So when we went to play, I think the first game would have been Hurlock. On the road, he switched things up, put Casey at the point. And I know it opened things up for me because, obviously, like you said, Casey scoring, Cabby scoring, I'm scoring. Sometimes, you can kind of get in each other's way. So now Casey at the point, he's more distributing. But also with that deal is that set you loose because now, like you said, you always had the good catch and shoot 3. Now you catching the shoot, you letting it fly, you drive when you need to. So then he switched the lineup up, put Casey at the point, put you in there now, you and Cabby on the wings, and me and Dixon. I'll talk a little bit about that because one of the games that sticks out to me is Colonel Richardson in Easton that year. You had 16. They said in the first half, but really was mostly in the first quarter, but then you had a knee injury, but you had it going, man. So let's talk about that transition from coming off the bench and now starting your junior year.
Well, that actually, like I said, again, a credit to my teammates because, like you said, with Casey running the point, because he could get downhill and he was bigger than most of the point guards. So what they would have to do is they either had to send help and then he would dish it or whatever he had to do with it. And it just opened our whole offense up because now everybody's clicking. Because now you pass the ball one time, okay, you got an open shooter. Now extra pass, boom, another wide open shooter. So it just opened up everything. And then you got you and Casey at the slashers and everything else it was
it really was, man. And we had some injuries towards the end of that year. Like you was banged up, Case was banged up, Jenkins, we had Brandon on there, he was banged up. You know what I mean? So like towards the end of the year, we ended up losing to North Carolina in the playoffs, but we had them, like, what I mean?
Did.
Just one of them things where we couldn't get the ball in the bucket, like normal. So, so I'm sure like you was, man, like, going into senior year, like I'm excited, because of the possibilities. Because then we're playing really with our brother, we're playing with each other, like we were playing with since we was 11, 12 years old.
It was finally back to the basic squad that we started with.
Yeah, man. And I know like Ty Johnson, he used to always joke, like he used to always say, man, you get my senior year, we're gonna win it. And honestly, we was on that path to win it. We're definitely gonna talk about losing games and that situation. Me and Gary talked about it on the podcast. We're gonna get into that. But going into this year, me, you, and Cabby are the captains. The projected starting lineup originally would have been me, you, Cabby, Mike, and Derek Cannon's coming back. So he didn't play the junior year. He played a little bit of his sophomore year. So now he's back as a senior, even better. But then Gary has a situation that he then now comes down to Easton. So we said, well, we're gonna run Gary at the point the first game, and then with you, Cabby, me, and missing somebody. Oh, and Derek. So talk to me first about the first game, because to your discredit, I feel like we gave that lineup a little bit more time, like with Gary running the point. I think especially being your senior year, we would have kept you in there because I feel like you had to sacrifice. I kind of compare you something to somebody man was at the barbershop. I kind of compare you that year to like Brooks Blake junior year. Brooks Blake junior year, he's supposed to be the man starting, but then Shelton came, right? So then he had to get off the bench. I kind of feel like in a weird way, the same thing happened to you, inadvertently, where you had to sacrifice, probably more than anybody as far as starting off as a starter, but then coming off the bench and starting here and there, down the line, and you obviously played a big role in the team. But just talk to me a little bit about that, about coming off the bench and starting.
To be honest, at first, I felt slighted because I was a senior. I'm like, you know what? I've been putting in work,
as you should.
But after it happened, it was a lot easier because again, like I said, I got to sit and analyze. And I'm a starter coming again and playing against other people's second string. So it was like me being on JV 10th grade, just go downhill on these ones. They can't hold me. Like, just do your thing out there.
Yeah, that's a great
So it was like, okay, you're running the second string. Okay, that's more opportunity for me because I know at this point on the court, I'm the man out there. So it's easy for me to just go downhill.
Yeah. And that's a great way of looking at it. And like you said, you should have been, because like you said, I know, Gary not running the point before, I think Richard probably was like, well, I better get Mike in there. Then if you remember, Turtle was on there the first 2 games. Yeah, he was really supposed to be a starter too. But then, him and Richard didn't see eye to eye on a few things, and he never got to start. So obviously Mike did an incredible job.
Mike was phenomenal.
Stepping right in and being a point. But like you said, just the sacrifice that you had to make, definitely is something I, tip my hat to you for. So we start off, great, 6-1 at one point, maybe 7-1, tied for first place with Cambridge, and then, we lose the games. Nothing we did. Maybe double checking some things maybe we should have did, but adults taking things away from kids. Again, nothing stuff still going on today. But just talk about how you felt knowing we was gonna lose the games, and then just how we was gonna rebound from that.
It kind of just it definitely took the wind out of our sails as a team. And at that point, everybody was just like, well, what's the point?
What's the point?
Like, you know what I mean? Like, we can go win all these games, but it ain't gonna mean anything. So I think at that point, we kind of took our foot off the gas pedal a little bit as a team. You know what I mean? It just it hurt for a while.
Yeah, it did.
That was a hard one to swallow, especially to no fault of our own. We didn't do anything wrong.
Right. And I think it's crazy because when we found out we were gonna lose the games, we had to play Mardella. And Mardella, they, no disrespect to Mardella, but they was trash.
Yeah.
And you could tell it was weighing on us because that first half was like a real close game.
Yeah, it was.
And then the second half, we ended up blowing them
all right,
out.
you know what? We got to play these games. We got to show what we might as well play. So let's get it together.
And then what I think what helped us is, I don't know if you remember, we had a lot of snow that year, and we had a little bit of a break. So then we came back off the break, and we know we're not going to have Garrison. Now it's just like, man, let's just show everybody what's good. We still a great team. So we end up that week, I never forget. And kind of makes you mad because if we still had our games, we would end up taking over first places. We had Ken Island, Cambridge, and North Dorchester. Man, we beat all 3 of them.
We had to win all 3 of them.
We had to win all 3 of them. We beat all 3 of them.
Even though it didn't matter, we just had to prove a point to let y'all know they couldn't fuck with us.
The 3 best teams, like you're saying, we beat them without Gary. You know what I mean? So we just really went in there with that mentality, because like you said, it was tough at first. Like, man, we can win states, but the Bayside, the playoff seeding, all that's affected.
Matter of fact, I remember you talking about that. It was like, you know what? We have not won the Bayside. We're going to win this. If it don't count out, me and you can remember that we won that Bayside.
And we ran through it, man. Like I said, we didn't lose no more North games. The only South game we lost to was Wild High when they came to Easton. But, man, everybody stepped up. And in particular, I remember the game against Colonel on the road. I went up and came down on my knee and was out. And I remember, man, you going in there and just going crazy, like having probably 16 so points like that. Probably like one quarter, you know what I'm saying, on Colonel, man. What you remember about that game? Because not only was you a great shooter, but another thing me and you both like doing because of the AU days is we used to run green high and all that. And we like to get the ball that middle of the court, that middle of the foul line. We can hit that mid-range.
Yeah.
And, man, you hit so many mid-ranges that game where you was just on fire. And we would not have won that game without you. So just talk to me a little bit about what you remember about that. It's something about Colonel, too.
Oh, I was going to tell you about that.
Something about Colonel.
I remember our 10th grade meeting. We would have been undefeated that year, but we lost.
I remember.
Colonel.
It was down there. It was down there, right?
No, it was here.
Oh, it was here. Okay.
The referees cheated, and they had to get changed in our locker room.
No.
Yeah, we had to get escorted out of the locker room that time because we was on their head. But anyway, unfortunately for Colonel, that's why I always bust y'all.
Yeah, you did.
Every time I seen Colonel Richardson,
I just realized that
take their face off every time. Every time. So. Unfortunately, Colonel, y'all got the best of me.
Yeah, you did, man. I just realized that
every time.
Junior year, his best game. Senior year, his best game. And then like I said, like even before that game, you come on the bench, like, because I think if I'm not mistaken, like after Gary lost when we lost the games and Gary couldn't play, Richard was still like rotate that fifth guy. So you might start a couple of games, Little might start a game, D. Ricketts might start a game. So and we just kept that core four.
And actually, I think I ended up telling Richard to start D. Ricketts because he became off because I'm a better off the bench scorer. D didn't come off the bench.
Yeah, he didn't.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, you know what? Let him start off. Let him get his.
That's real, man.
And then me, I'm gonna find my shot. I can go out there and no matter what, like you said, because I was always in the mid range. So I get a couple mid range going, then everything else is gonna flow from there.
Yeah, that's a great teammate though, man. I didn't even know that. So, and you're right though, because it does. You know, everybody can't play off the bench, like, you know what I'm saying. Everybody can't start. You know what I mean? And you know, so you know, for you to go and say, hey man, start the junior. You know, I'm a senior, man. That's big. So again, man, I always respect you about, you know, how you was able to adapt to so many roles and so many different you know, so many coaches and so many different things, man. So I definitely always tip my hat and applaud you with that, man. So salute.
Thank you. I think that comes from being like a military kid. You always got to just to adapt to the next situation. And you never know what it's going to be. So just put yourself in the position to be ready. And show up.
That's dope, man. That's dope, man. Man, Real Sports Fan Podcast, man, here with Antoine Brooks. Might know him as Twan, might know him as Snipes. My brother for life right here, man, on the podcast. It's gonna get your ears for a few more minutes. So after high school, did you have a plan? Did you know what you wanted to do as far as if you thought it was gonna be sports, or you thought you was gonna get into business, or you thought, you know, what you was gonna major in, what school you want to go to? You know, talk a little bit about that, because you was an honor roll student too. So, you know, talk a little bit about that as well.
To be honest, I had zero plans after high school. I'm just gonna figure it out. I know I took business in high school, so when I did finally go to college and figure out what I wanted to do, I was gonna take business in college as well. So that's what I ended up doing. But I took the long road. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to party. I didn't. I wasn't worried. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like it was always going to be there because I knew one thing about me was I wasn't going to college and take on any debt. So that was never a thing for me. So I went to Chesapeake for a while, did some business classes out there. Then I ended up moving away. I didn't move away to college until I was like maybe 22 or 23 years old.
Did you go to Frostburg?
No, I didn't actually live in Frostburg, but I went to Allegheny College, the college down the street.
Okay. Yeah, that's right.
So I did that for a little while, took some business classes out there just to get away, tried something different. You know what I mean? Get away from home for a little while.
Yeah. That's dope. And you know, now it's crazy because, you know, we sitting down here talking, you know, we in the year 2023, blessed to see it. We graduated, we're gonna tell our age 2003. So we've been out of school 20 years. I can't believe it. Felt like you were just in school yesterday. But now, you know, your son is getting ready to graduate from Easton 20 years after you did, Adrian. I mean, what's your thoughts? And just first, he's a great kid, man. I mean, shout out to you and his mom and the village, man, because he's a great kid. I mean, I remember seeing him in Ocean City one time. He was young and like he was so respectful. He's probably like 7, 8, you know, 9 then, and just always been respectful, always been the same. You know, so just talk about, you know, the fact that he's going to graduate 20 years from when you did, and then just, you know, talk a little bit about, you know, how great a kid he is. I know he plays lacrosse, and you know, also you know, school, where he's gonna go in school, and just, you know, whatever you want to share about him.
Okay, yeah, Adrian's been a blessing. I'm blessed to be his dad, to be honest with you, man. He's made my life so easy as being a father. Just always being a good kid, respectful, well liked in the community, and just always being a stand-up kid. And he's always been into the military, so he went into ROTC, so that helped him stay disciplined and humble as well. So I never forget, shout out to D. Ricketts. He took us on a tour when he was working at the Naval Academy. And Adrian knew all the information about the tour. I'm like, how you know all of this stuff? He wasn't even in high school. He was still in middle school.
That's dope. Knowing what
he knew everything. Like, definitely a history buff. So
that's good.
Shout out to him for that. And then I think after high school, he wants to go to Marine Mechanic Institute down in Orlando.
Awesome. And that's something, because somehow, you know, you were saying you was at the age, you didn't know what you want to do, but it seemed like he knows he's got a love for weight, and he knows it, and that's great. You know, you tell him, you know, go ahead to it.
And see, that's what I've always instilled in him. Find something that you like doing and you're passionate about, that you know that you love doing, and go do that as a job.
Yeah,
that's what he's figured out.
That's it. That's awesome.
He just wants to be on the water, and
that's awesome.
It's
I know, right? Yeah, it's beautiful.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. And you know, I always respect you as well, because you always take, you know, calculated risk, you know, and the flexibility. You know, we talked a little bit about now. You know, we're in a time now where you want to be flexible, whether it's on your job, you know, whether it's with other endeavors, whether it's being a homeowner, whether it's you know, stock market. You know, there's different things that you always have had a niche in. You know, here and there. Businesses with your beautiful wife. You know, things of that nature. You know, so just talk a little bit about. I want to talk about the PHP agency and maybe give people some information. You might have seen some posts of him and his wife been sharing some pop-ups that they've been having as far as life insurance, you know, and I could go on about it, but he can you know say it better than I can. But just talk a little bit about PHP agency and maybe give people some information about why they need life insurance.
Well, for me, PHP is like it's an eye opener to because as us being males and heads of our households, there's a lot of information that we didn't know that was out there that we need to get into our community so these people can leave legacies for their families and future generations. Like, because unfortunately, we're all gonna die. We could all end up getting cancer, stroke, heart attack, car accident. Anything can happen, and it's just it's another safe place to put your money. And that's for me. I'm all about how can I leverage my money and how can I use my money more than one time. You know what I mean? So I want to put my money somewhere it can grow, maintain, be safe, and still, you know what I mean? Leave something for the future generation. So when I'm dead and gone, if they don't feel like getting out of bed that day, like, you know what, my dad worked hard enough that, you know what, I can lay down. I don't got to get up and go do nothing. Just have that legacy built already established. So when they get there, they already know what's going on and just school them along the way while we're building it so they know.
And you know, it's something though. So it might be some of our listeners, but like, well, they might be like, well, I got life insurance. You know what I mean? So I got the standard life insurance. So I got life insurance. So and that's great. You got everybody's the first have it. You know, because
for sure,
it's so many situations of people leave here don't have it, and you know, you're scrambling to bury the person, and the family, you know, suffering because of it. So that's great. But this is another type of life insurance that can help you now. You know, while you're living, you know,
living benefits. I think if you got life insurance before 2016, you might want to check with your policy or whoever's holding your policy and just to see if you have living benefits. If not, let's have a conversation.
Yep, you heard him. I heard him. He's easy to find. You can find him on Facebook, IG, or Snap. Y'all know Instagram.
All of that.
He's on there. So I'm telling you, it's great information. You know, me and my wife have gotten the information. We sat down with him a couple of times, and we're gonna definitely move forward what we need to do. You know, it's good to have the stand and all that, but it's stuff that can help us right now, especially for our people, for our community. You know, it's a lot of things that we just didn't know and wasn't privy to. And now when people are privy to this information, don't just, you know, turn the side eye and say, I don't want that. You know, listen. You know, listen first.
Educate yourself.
Educate.
I'm only here to educate. I don't want to sell anybody anything. I want to educate you. I'm doing this for me and my family. So whether you do it or not, that's up to you. I'm just here to bring you the information.
And so you heard it, man. So see him and highlight him about that life insurance is dope. And shout out Phil, man. Shout out Phil.
Definitely.
Yes, sir.
Phillip.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir.
We appreciate you, brother.
That was definitely my brother. Was definitely. All right, man. So I'm gonna hit you with some quick hitters. Obviously, we both sports junkies.
Okay.
So I'm gonna hit you with a couple of things, and then we get ready to get up off of here. First, your Lakers. How far can they get this year? I'm loving what I'm seeing last night. Whenever y'all see this, you know, game 3 just ended. LeBron 26, AD 31-17, Russell 17, Rui still balling, Reeves is doing his thing. How far can the Lakers get this year? What's a successful season?
Successful season. I mean, to be honest, playoffs was a successful season. Unfortunately, like seriously, like
2-10. And literally, they was in 13th place at the All-Star break.
It was a rough year to be a Lakers fan, bro.
You talking about roller coaster?
It's been a rough year.
It's like 3 different teams.
But I mean, to be honest with LeBron, you can never count that man out. I've seen him take a team with less than he got now to the championship. So I mean,
even in year 20,
like
38,
you cannot count that man out. I'm not the biggest LeBron fan, but I respect greatness.
That's
you know what I mean?
And I respect that because some people don't like him. They say this, that, and the third, but I respect that. Like you still gotta respect who he is.
Yeah. So as long as he there and we got a healthy AD, it's gonna be a tough. And the good thing about it is we on the road coming and everybody building. So you don't want LeBron coming to your building. You don't want that.
You don't want that.
You gotta win.
You gotta win.
You gotta beat him. So
that's right.
We're underdogs, but we're kind of in a okay space right now. So
that's real. That's real. Now, you know, I think you've been kind of going in between these two. So I'm gonna ask you. Maybe I can get a definite answer from you. Ravens or Johns? Because I thought you the Johns. I thought you the Johns. But then I
love my Johns.
Yo, Johnson doing good. They, Saquon.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones got paid. Coach of the year, Dayball.
Daniel Jones paid, like,
a lot going on in Baltimore. They don't want to pay Lamar. You got Odell now.
Yeah.
I'm sure Lamar will be back since Odell's there.
Yeah.
But what?
Well, see, I'm a Giants fan and my wife's a Ravens fan. So.
All right. Okay. So you cheer for both. That's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Who will have a better season this year between those two teams? I know it's a lot of unknowns out there with Lamar, but what do you think?
To be honest, the Giants didn't look bad last year. Mm-hmm. They actually played some decent ball. Mm-hmm.
Picked up what you call it too, Darren Waller.
Yeah, I seen that.
Yep.
I seen that. I like
Waller.
that.
Yep, I do too. It's tough, ain't it?
But I mean, if you can get Lamar back with Odell and Mark Andrews, because you got to realize Lamar's best receiver is a tight end.
Yeah,
like
let's be real.
I mean,
be real. Yeah.
Odell might not have a greatest season, but you still got to put somebody over top. Yeah. You're not just gonna let him run wild. So that's gonna open up the run game for them even more. Yeah. So it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah.
And with that defense,
I know it's tough. Yeah.
I mean, if Lamar comes back, I'm going
Ravens. Okay. I like it.
Just the realist.
I like it. Give me your I don't know. I might have said it earlier, but your favorite athlete. It could be growing up or now.
Growing up, definitely Kobe. Definitely Kobe.
Yeah, Bean.
But now I'm gonna have to say Serena.
It's the GOAT.
Yeah.
GOAT.
I mean, like, no one's ever done what she's done. Like, no sport. No matter what sport it is.
Thank you. And that's why I said she's in the category forget the greatest woman player all the time. Of course, she's greatest player. Yes. She's in that conversation.
Yes.
She's in the conversation.
Yes.
Mickey was saying that years ago. Like, can she be in the conversation? I said, honestly, you're making good points. I don't see why she can't. Why can't she? Because she's a woman? No, that's a dumb reason. You know what I mean? So,
and she's there's no team there. It's just her. She had to show up.
And you've been to, was it US Open you went to? Yeah. How was that experience? Man?
Oh, man, amazing. I can't wait to go back this year.
Oh,
I cannot wait to go back.
I forgot you went to that. That's dope. Yeah. That's dope.
I love tennis. Tennis is my jam.
We'll get a couple more we get out of here. Favorite basketball shoe growing up that you had?
Basketball shoe?
Basketball shoe.
Oh, I had to have it?
You had to have it.
Oh, man.
You had some.
Well, I still haven't never got my favorite.
Okay.
My favorite of all time is the phone posits. I could never afford the phone posits. I was never coming off the 200.
I know somebody got them recently. Shout out Irv. Them joints, man.
I love them, but I can't. I refuse to pay the $5.
Right.
All right. Favorite basketball shoe that I had? It had to be the Jordan 11s.
Jordan 11s.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Space Jam.
Okay. Love it. And then give me the one of the best players you played against. I mean, it could be AAU, high school. I mean, you've seen a lot of ball. No, I ain't give you that question before. I'm putting him on the spot.
Yeah.
I'm putting him on the spot. He's my boy. Put him on the spot. I got one more after this, and we out of here.
That I never actually got to play in a real game against him, but probably the best player that I've probably seen is probably Shelton Hawk.
Shelton, that's real. Hawk.
Yeah.
Shout out Hawk, baby. Yes, sir. And then my last one, I can't wait to get you here on this one. You wasn't on this show, and I am going to do another one. We did a top 10 wrestling. I don't know if you got to see that.
Okay.
It was pretty dope. It was me, Bryce, Sam, Bruce, and we talked a little bit. And somebody else, and forgive me, I know I'm probably forgetting y'all, but give me your top 5 wrestlers of all time.
Okay.
Give me your top 5.
All right, top 5.
We was wrestling fanatics. The wrestling Damn. You had the Monday Night Wars. WCW.
Oh man.
Come on, man. Hey, give me a top 5. I've been waiting for this one.
Ooh,
then we getting out of here.
All right, top 5. Number 1, gotta be Bret the Hitman Hart.
Ooh, the Hitman. I like it.
The best there is, the best of one, the best of the After that, you gotta go with the Nature Boy.
Rick, I like it.
Gotta go with him.
I like it.
Then you gotta throw in my man Stone Cold.
Okay, I like it.
You gotta go with The Rock.
I like it. Okay.
And then for me, I gotta go with Shawn Michaels. Heartbreak Kid.
That's a great list.
Mention Hall and Nash.
That's a great list. That's a great list.
Yeah.
That's a great list. I ain't gonna debate you on that. I'm a Sting guy, so I can always
love Sting
for my man. But the sharpshooter and the Scorpion definitely was the same. So I ain't mad at the Bret Hart win. Bret, Brett, for some reason, like the last few years, is starting to get underrated. But he was the best technician of wrestling. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then if he was used right at the end of WWF, and then especially when he got to WCW, he was, you know, people remember. So yeah, I agree. I agree, but I'm going to get you on that wrestling jump when we really break it down. Like we give scores, you know, whether it be mic skills, whether it be finishing move. Like we gonna get into that. That's another time.
We got to take it back because Stone Cold don't get enough love for what he did back in the day.
He don't. Him and Flying Rock, the Hollywood
Blondes. Come on, man.
Yeah, we definitely.
And Shawn Michaels with the Rockers.
With the Rockers,
it's not just about what they was as individuals. It's like it's the career.
Yeah, it's a career, man. It's a career, man. And wrestling was dope. And now A&E, I don't know if you've seen, they've been doing these
bodies. Yeah, I have. I'm watching him in the gym in the morning.
I watched Iron Sheik last week. I didn't think I was gonna like it.
Iron Sheik was the man, bro.
It was so dope. But his story is crazy, like how he grew up and all that happened in his family life and all that, man. It was dope, man. And him being a villain really pushed over Hogan, being the superstar, and then kind of catapulting though. Yeah. So anyway, y'all don't want to hear that. We can go on with that. We going on about the wrestling. We going on about Temptations for Heartbeats. We didn't get into that. And make y'all laugh, you know what I'm saying? So we'll be every night, you know what I mean? So, but man, I had to sit down, you know, with my brother, like you said, and jump on the podcast. It's been a long time coming. You know, just tell a little bit about his story, you know, about you know, growing up, coming from, like I said, I even forgot about, you know, being in Germany from ages 1 to 5, and then Oklahoma, and then coming here, and then meeting us, and man, we all been brothers ever since, tight knit group. So yeah, man, Real Sports Fan Podcast. Anything, man, you want to say to the people, you know, before we get off here?
Nah, just a pleasure to be here. Great conversating with everybody. Great talking to y'all.
Yeah, make sure y'all check it out, Real Sports Fan Podcast.
Love it.
Check it out.
Appreciate you.
Out of here. You already know. Peace.